Class 10, welcome back in the chemistry period, and let us learn the lesson number 3a from where we have left. Preparation of acids and bases. This you will learn already in a different way. This you know, the topics you know very well, but in a different manner. So we are going to touch this topic in the class 10 level, preparation of acids or bases. You can see on the screen acids from nonmetals. When hydrogen react with chlorine, nonmetal, this nonmetal, it gives you HCl. And if it is iodine, it gives you Hi, right? Same way, if base, if you want to prepare base, here hydrogen react with nonmetal, here metal react with oxygen, it gives basic oxide, right? Acids from the acidic oxides. And when you say acidic oxide, it means CO2 is oxide. We call it acidic oxide because when it reacts with the water, it turns into the acidic oxide, or it turns to acid. So whatever the oxides, when it turn with the react with the water and gives you acid, are called acidic oxide, right? So for example, carbon dioxide, it's oxide. It reacts with water, it gives you carbonic acid, H2CO3. So CO2 is acidic oxide. Same way, if we take a look at the SO2 and then SO3 and P2O5, phosphorus pentoxide, it reacts with the water and gives you acid, right? So we call it acidic oxide. If you look at the other way, basic oxides, the oxide which react with water and gives you base are called basic oxide. So K2O, potassium oxide, Na2O, sodium oxide, it react with water and gives you base. So we call it basic oxides. These are basic oxides. So when basic oxide react with water, it gives you base. Acidic oxide react with water, it gives you acid. So this is a preparation of acid and bases, right? From the salts, acid from the salts, potassium nitrate, KNO3, plus sulfuric acid, it gives you acidic salt. That is one thing. But at the same time, we receive one more acid. H2SO4 gives us HNO3. It displays and gives you volatile acid, HNO3, right? So it is, we can say, normal salt with sulfuric acid. Here also normal salt. When it's a normal salt, it means it does not have any hydrogen in it. So this is normal salt, right? It gives you acidic salt and acid. If you take a look at the bases from the salts, again this is a salt, aluminum chloride plus base, it gives you normal salt, sodium chloride, and aluminum hydroxide, ALOH twice. Now you know what is salt actually. I think you know, but still I'll touch it a little bit. Salt is a compound in which you will find positive ion. I'll just put in a piece of paper, you may understand. For example, KNO3. In this KNO3, you will find positive radical and negative radical, right? But this is not H, this is not OH, right? Whenever you find H or OH in a compound, that gives you, this gives you base and this gives you acid, right? But when a compound does not have H or OH, but it has positive and negative radicals or positive negative ions, we call it salt. So here it is salt. Here also this is salt, AlCl3 with sodium hydroxide gives you aluminum hydroxide, and ferrous sulfate, it gives you sodium sulfate and ferrous hydroxide, FeOH twice. Preparation of acid by oxidation of nonmetals. Keep in mind, acid is formed by the nonmetals, right? Wherever you see, for example, take a look at the first preparation. It gives you react with the nonmetal, right? Same way here also when you come down, this is also from the non-metal, right? So Non-metal, for example, sulfur is oxidized by concentrated nitric acid to give you acid called sulfuric acid, right? So sulfur is a non-metal. You take with the nitric acid HNO3, you give sulfuric acid plus water plus nitrogen dioxide. And base, by the decomposition of salts, again a different formation, it decomposes. When you say decompose, it breaks the bond and form a new compound, right? So these are the few ways of preparation from the non-metals, acid from the non-metals, hydrogen and non-metals gives you acid, acidic oxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur trioxide, phosphorus pentoxide with water gives you acid. Acid from the salts, when it acid react salt with the salt, it gives you acidic salt and acid, right? Here also this gives you salt and acid gives you acidic salt and acid. And when the acid we can prepare by the oxidation of non-metals, for example sulfur plus HNO3, it gives you sulfuric acid, right, plus water and nitrogen dioxide. From the base side, matter and oxygen, it gives you base or basic oxide. If you take a look at the basic oxides, here we have acidic oxide, here we have basic oxides, oxide which gives you base, right, with the water. It is I just explained earlier. So they have given this two alkali, but you can take, there are many such basic oxide you can come across, right, which gives you base, right. Here they give active metals also react with water to give base as alkali. If you simply take active metal, potassium, sodium, lithium is also there. These are the active metals. First group, if you learn the periodic table, first group, it gives you alkali and hydrogen. From the salt, we have just taken a look at this. Right? These are the preparation of the acids and bases. Now we'll see properties of the acids and bases. We'll see, when you say properties, when you come across any chemical compound or any chemical reactions, you have to keep in mind the properties of a given compound or the element. So here we are going to look at the properties of the acids and bases. First is physical property. This you will learn in class 7. And we will just touch it. The main points. It is siren test. Mineral acids are highly corrosive. And with the indicator, it turns blue litmus red. It turns blue litmus red. Physical properties of the bases. Bittern test. Caustic alkali is highly corrosive. Indicator, it turns red litmus to blue. Simple way is, if you have the indicator, the litmus test, acid turns blue litmus red, while base turns red litmus blue, right? This is a simple way of remembering the test for the litmus. Now, chemical property of the acids. What are the properties of for the acids? Acid neutralizes base and gives a salt and water. This is base. When you take with the acid, it gives you salt. Here you don't find H plus and OH, but a positive ion is there. Right? This positive ion, you know very well, is negative. Right? So it gives you salt and water. So it neutralizes the effect of the acid and the base. Right? These are first reaction, first chemical properties. Reaction of active metals and acids. When it reacts, it liberates hydrogen. Zinc is an active metal, very active metal, and it reacts with the acid. It displaces, zinc displaces hydrogen. This you learn in class 9, displacement reaction. So this is more reactive or more active than hydrogen. So it push aside hydrogen, right? I would say. So we'll have salt, zinc, chloride, and hydrogen. Reaction of chlorides and nitrates and bicarbonates and carbonates with acids. Now, when you say with the chlorides, it gives you hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride, as an acidic salt with sulfuric acid. When sodium nitrate react with sulfuric acid, it gives you acidic salt, sodium bisulfate, and nitric acid. If you go further down, now it says this is carbonate. This you have to keep in mind when you come across carbonate, right? It gives you the product, byproduct, water and carbon dioxide, right? So sodium bicarbonate with sulfuric acid gives you sodium sulfate, right? And gives you water and carbon dioxide. Same way here also, it says it forms H2CO3, which is unstable, and dissociate again to give you H2,CO2, right? Because H2CO3 is unstable, it does not remain as H2CO3, right? It dissociates again and again. So we generally receive H2,CO2. When you come across CO3, it gives you, if it is HCO3 or whatever, right? Now, chemical property of bases. Alkalis react with ammonium salts on heating it to liberate ammonia. For example, NH4Cl plus NaOH, this is a base. It gives you NaCl, sodium chloride, and ammonia and water, right? Alkali react with certain metallic salt solutions to precipitate insoluble hydroxide. They give an example, CuCl2 plus NaOH, it gives you salt, sodium chloride, and COH twice insoluble hydroxide. If you come across FeCl3, metallic salt again, or zinc sulfate, it gives you a salt, NaCl, and FeOH thrice, ferric oxide, and sodium sulfate and zinc hydroxide. Okay. So ferric hydroxide and zinc hydroxide. So in short, when metallic salt react with the base, it gives you insoluble hydroxide and salt. Right? This is the property of bases. Now, property of acids and bases. Properties is the basic property is neutralization, right? And neutralize. And this we generally use in the this property we use when insect bites. If you say the uses of the acids and bases, we use this. We apply this to neutralize the effect. For example, ant bites, you feel itching and become red. Because when ant bites and inject in your body malic acid, right? Then we apply the soap or the toothpaste to neutralize that effect. In simple way of the acid effects, right? Uses of acids. Eye wash. We generally use boric acid to give a soothing effect, and if you have some insect enter in your eyes while traveling, sometimes you feel itching and burning. It is not all the time that you come across the insect and they inject or they release acid. Sometimes they release base also. So when you come across, then we use boric acid to give neutralizing effect in your eyes, right? Food preservation, we use citric acid. You might come across the pickle and jam. So this citric acid is used to give preservation. Then ink stain remover on your cloth. It removes the ink stain. Flavoring drinks, we use carbonic acid. Whatever the soft drinks you are using. Baking powder, baking soda and baking powder are different. Only difference is tartaric acid. Baking soda, you do not find tartaric acid. In baking powder, you find tartaric acid. That's why this baking powder gives a little different taste than the baking soda, right? For the cooking, we use acetic acid, vinegar. Sometimes if you go in a hotel, you may come across onion, small onion dipped in the vinegar. They generally provide in the place of pickle. This is a way of preserving, right? Pickling of metals, we use hydrochloric acid. Now bases, we use bases to manufacture soaps, sodium hydroxide, manufacture of bleaching powder, xanthacid, to neutralize the acidity. When you have acidity in your stomach, then you take Digen or Divol. Diazine diol contains this compound. You can take a look at the diazine or diol, read the label, and find this. In fire extinguisher we use aluminum hydroxide. You might have seen they sprinkle sometimes, right? Along with the carbon dioxide they use aluminum hydroxide, right? In softening water we use calcium hydroxide, which react and gives you calcium carbonate as a precipitate, right? Settle at the bottom. And removing grease stains from the clothes we use ammonium hydroxide. There are a few uses of the acids and bases, right? Now this you have learned in a previous class, but still let us take a look at the acidity in the acid rain. So acid rains refers to rain which is acidic in nature and has pH less than 5.6. It is generally a complex mixture of sulfuric acid along with sulfurous acid and nitric acid along with the nitrous acid, caused by atmospheric pollutants. This you learn, right? So you have learned this. Especially you come across this kind of rain in the plains, in the cities where you find many industries, right? So you come across the industrial area around the cities, and this industrial area having so many industries, many of them are chemical industries. They release the smoke in the air. The smoke contains chemical. It hover over the city, cover the whole city sometimes and the surrounding areas, and suspend in the air for a long time. When the rain comes, the water reacts with that compound. Sometimes the smoke contains CO2, SO2, NO2, NO, right? SO4. So these compound react with the H2O in the rain and turns into the acid. Right? They are given one chemical reactions. Burning of fossil fuels releases sulfur dioxide. Now sulfur dioxide S plus O2 gives the SO2. SO2 react with the water vapor forming sulfurous acid H2SO3. Right? This is in the rain, right? H2O. This will be in the rain, right? SO2 can be oxidized to SO3. SO2 plus oxygen, it gives you SO3. And SO3 reacts with water vapor forming H2SO4 aqueous. This comes down. So generally it is advisable, and in the plains the parents advise that when the first rain comes, don't take bath. Don't go and get wet yourself in the rain, because it is fun for people to get wet in the rain. But especially if your area is surrounded by the industries, it is not advisable to take this risk in the because that is acidic rain, right? And then second chemical reactions: nitrogen in the air combines with the oxygen, gives you nitrogen oxide, right? At high temperature. High temperature are achieved during lightning discharge in the atmosphere. So nitrogen is in the air, suspended in the air. Oxygen is always in the air, and when lightning strikes in the monsoon, lightning release the heat, and that gives you high temperature, and nitrogen reacts with oxygen in the air and turns into NO, right? And then this NO react with the oxygen again in the air, it turns to nitrogen dioxide, which with the water turns into the nitric acid and come down on the air, on the soil, and harm the soil, the fertility of the soil, right? Now these are the few tests we need to learn. Indicators: when the pH value is less than 7, it is acidic, and more than 7, it is basic. So neutral area is 7. Sometimes it is 7.2, 7.3, not exact 7. So that we consider as a neutral. Sometimes 6.9 to 7.3 we consider as a neutral, right? Because these days we have different marks for the acidity and basicity. Earlier it was different because industries were not many, right? But as the days goes by and in the name of development we have many industries, so the indicator also change. So 6.9 to 7.3 is generally called neutral in these days, right? How do we determine by indicator. This is a pH scale. If you have been to the chemistry lab, when we come across again in the school, we'll go for the chemistry lab and we'll see this. So they have pH paper. In this pH paper, on the pH paper's main strip, you can find this kind of markings, different colors marking on the pH strip. So when you dip that pH paper in the respective solution, then it change the color, and by looking at the color change, you can understand the acidity or the alkalinity of the given liquid or solution, right? So if you have this kind of color that talks about the pH and it is acid or base, you can understand, right? So this is a pH indicator scale on the pH paper. You have learned about the phenolphthalein and methyl orange in the previous class, and litmus solution also. These are the three solutions we generally use in the industry to test their pH, and by testing the pH we understand about the given solution whether it is acidic or basic. So if you have a litmus solution, it is red, that means it is acid. If litmus solution turns to blue, it means it is basic or alkaline, right? This is a pH range. If you have methyl orange solution, then if methyl orange solution turns to pink, the color changes to pink, it is a methyl orange color, it turns to pink, it means the solution is acidic and the pH range is somewhere 2.5 to 2.7, right? If it remains yellow, then this is the solution. It may be from 4 to 14, the pH range. So it may be acidic or may be alkaline. So once you come across, if you taste the solution with the methyl orange and you want to be specific, then you need to go back to the litmus solution, or you can take a look at the phenolphthalein. If you have phenolphthalein, the phenolphthalein is colorless solution. So when you dip that phenolphthalein, when you dip the or put a drop of the solution in the phenolphthalein or drop of phenolphthalein in the solution, if does not change the color, it means it is acidic. But if it change to beautiful pink, it is basic, it is alkaline, right? Now these are the few indicators we are generally using in the industries. Common acid base indicators and universal indicators. These we are using everywhere, it is universal, right? Now examples are litmus, methyl orange, phenolphthalein. These are the common acid base indicators we use in the lab in the frequently, right? And universal indicators, they are a mixture of organic dyes or mixed indicators, for example pH paper or solution. This is we generally use regularly. These are the indicators, right? And we just learn about the color change. If you have phenolphthalein, if you put a drop of phenolphthalein in the solution, then if color change pink color, it is alkaline. If no color change, it is acidic. If it is methyl orange, then from pH 2 to at least 2.5, it is pink, and then it remains yellow, right? Now utility of the common acid base indicator, just to find out whether the solution is acidic or basic, alkaline. We used for determining the strength of the acidic or alkaline solution. We cannot be utilize this by using the pH, the acid base indicator. We cannot determine the strength, right? It indicates the acidity or the basicity, but it cannot be utilized to find out the strength. It cannot differentiate between acidic or basic solutions of different pH values, since they change the colors separately at certain pH value. So we cannot use this, right, to differentiate between the acidic and basic solutions at pH values. We just come to know a little bit about whether it is alkaline or acidic, that's all. We cannot differentiate more than that, right? For that we need to go for the pH meter. We can only come to know about acidic or alkaline solution, that's all. Utility of the universal indicator. It indicates strength of the pH or the pH range right? It indicates. We just take a look at this pH scale, right? If I bring you back here to this scale, this is universal indicator, right? So indicates the strength, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? It can be utilized for determining the strength of the acidic solution or the alkaline solution. Right? It can differentiate between acidic or basic solutions of different pH values by giving different colors with different pH values. When you, for example, given blue to indigo to violet, it is between 7 to 14 the pH value. Few ideas, right? Now these are the things we already learned about the color change. This we have learned here, right? So I'll not touch again this topic. Right. Now let's take a look at this pH value. Why we need this pH value in the agriculture field, in the field, khet ke andar. The pH of the soil is tested for better growth of crops. Citrus fruit needs slightly alkaline soil. Rice, it needs acidic medium, and sugarcane needs neutral medium. They give an idea. So if your field is not growing a crop, then you need to take a sample of your soil and go to the chemical lab and ask them to test the soil sample. Then you come to know about your crop and the fertility of the soil, right? And in dairies, a change in pH of milk. They just take a look at the change of the pH of the milk. From pH 6 to 6.6, it indicates milk has turned sour. Doodh fat gaya, right? And technology, biochemical and organic reactions are carried out under the controlled pH. It's very important. If it change in the pH, it gives you different reaction than the desired one. Medicines, pH value of urine and blood are taken for diagnosis of various diseases. If you have been to the pathologist, if you are sick and doctor send you for the blood test or urine test, then you can take a look at the lab report. In that you may read about the urine test also, and then they mention about the pH. Let me tell you a few things. If your body is acidic, then your body does not function normally. You may have some diseases. For that only doctor give you medicines or some kind of foods they suggest to make your body neutral, right? pH value of some common substances. This is very important. These are acids, right? So pH value is 1.0, 1.2. Acidic acid is the mild acid which we are using in the food. 2.9. Tartaric acid from the grapes 3.5. Lactic acid in the milk 6.6. And if the pH is little less, then it is sour. Human blood pH value is 7.3. So when they take the sample of the blood, and if the blood is acidic, it means your blood, you have some problem in the body, right? Albumin in the egg, it's 7.9. Sea water, the pH is 8.5. Generally, it's supposed to be 7. Pure water value is 7. So this is 8.5 means it is basic, and it contains salt. Ammonium hydroxide is 11.1, and sodium hydroxide, if it is 0.1 normal, this will come. What is this 1 and you will come in the class 11, right? So when it is sodium hydroxide solution is 0.1 normal, it means the value is 30. It is very, very basic, very alkaline, right? Salts. I will stop here and we'll see this in the next video.